The Creative Moment, Season 5, Episode 7, Early Risers Edition. It is currently not even 7 a.m. I can see it right there, but it's early. We're still here. We're still pumping this out. I'm Dante Bullhauer. I'm a photographer, digital media guy. Jamie Bullhauer, poet, writer guy. We're both creatives. Creativity plays a lot in our lives, and we're here for episode 57 to dive right into this thing. Let's do it.
Yeah. Bubbler instead of coffee.
Yeah, I haven't had my coffee yet, but I will after, along with several more bubblers. Stay tuned for big announcements on that. Anyway, today we are talking about the importance of having a workspace, kind of a defined workspace, if you will.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, obviously, since the whole COVID thing, the definition of an office space, a workspace, has morphed tenfold into what it used to be. I read somewhere that work from home remote jobs are up 400% or something since COVID. I to be honest, I didn't really know that work from home jobs were that much of a thing.
Because I've had some jobs where I get to stay at home.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, you had to be in an office or place to instill your skill set. So we're going to talk about that today. Yeah.
So ironically, the 7th graders this week were working on a little bit of study skills and some stuff. And one of the scientific backed things was to have a place to actually study. Have a designated area. All right, and then it actually talked about in the video we watched stuff about doing things to make sure that it goes well, so that you're not disrupting your work time, or in this case, study time. And got thinking. That's what I texted you and stuff, because you also have mobile, and I kind of have mobile, but we'll talk about that too. But the base of it is and what are the rules that you follow, or some of the guidelines of having a spot that allows you to get into work. Now, not the muse, not being inspired, because especially writing, ideas come at all times, but sometimes just sit down and get to work and to get the finished product or whatever ever completed.
Yeah, I've said this before. My longest projects are usually my video editing projects, and those cannot be done in spurts. It can't be, I'll work on it for 20 minutes here, go do something else, walk the dog, eat lunch, whatever, go back 20 minutes. I have to, most of the time when I video edit, because I work a lot from the couch, which is a bad thing.
So bad examples are ways to learn also.
Yes, and I exercise those on the daily. But for video editing, wedding videos, whatever, I usually have to go sit down at the desk in the office and just put the AirPods in and just do it for a couple hours, if not more. I am too relaxed on the couch. I can do photo editing on the couch because it's pretty, not simple, but it's pretty routine. And I can kind of watch TV, kind of keep an eye on the dog, whatever. But to truly do create work that I'm trying something new, or longer term stuff, I have to be in my workspace.
Yeah, and that aspect of on the couch watching TV and stuff. And lots of people think that they can multitask, and it doesn't mean you can't get stuff done while but in all honesty, and we talked about with the video on flow, you need to have a designated area that does not distract you to get serious work done. You can't, listening to music and stuff, and that we'll talk about that in a little bit because you just mentioned that too. But sorry, you can't multitask well. You can't. Not when you're really dealing with serious work. And I think too many people just I do this and my phone is here and all, and it's sorry, you need a space. And studies have shown that we're creatures of habit to a degree. Like spontaneity is cool, and and the muse hits, but we work really well. And sometimes a habit is actually physical space. It's physical space. When you're sitting on the couch, guarantee you probably turn on the TV
every time. That's why I sit on the couch.
Yeah, I don't love it. See what it's like, and we prime ourselves in that. If you have a designated area, whether it's a desk, a chair, kitchen table, for me a little bit, your brain, your system, just like, oh, okay, this is what I'm about to do, and so it gets ready to do that. All right, so sitting on the couch and so your body's like, oh, okay,
yep.
Relax mode. I'm cool. I can still do, and it doesn't mean you can't do work. That's what I'm saying. But I'm like, if you are honest about your craft and you really want and have to do serious work, and if you've not made a space, a room, a desk, a seat, something, it's going to take a little bit of time, and you're going to be like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about because I sat there and I couldn't get any work done. You create a habit by doing that. You get work done there. You do it again and again. As you mentioned, you do have a desk and stuff that you've had, even as we've changed studios. Yes. But that desk, like, that's your workspace. And so it triggers you to get stuff done.
Yeah, there was a psychology study done about, like, being on your phone before bed. And that's why most people say turn your phone off an hour before going to bed, because the study showed that the people that would get into bed and do something other than sleep typically had a worse sleep pattern, or they wouldn't sleep as well or as long or whatever, because their body was subconsciously you're supposed to only get in bed when you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
So when you do other things, your body doesn't know when you're actually going to sleep, because I got into bed, I could be doing on my phone, I could be whatever, reading, or just distracted and not doing what your mind thinks the bed is designated for. And I think it plays right into the workspace. Like, it is so much easier for me to be working. I travel a lot for work. My workspace changes all the time. Like, whether it's at Pinnacle Bank Arena or at State Track, like, I need to turn things around. I need to get stuff uploaded. So it is so much easier for me to go do something else for a minute if I'm on the couch. So much easier for me to go get some chips from the pantry. I mean, and so much easier for me to just keep looking at the clock, be like, okay, it's almost lunchtime. We'll just take a little early break, whatever. And so having that, like, psychological, okay, when I sit down at my desk or at the kitchen table, wherever that workspace is, I'm going to like, your body is trained. All we're going to do here is just work. And that is a huge, like, I do not do anything else at my desk. I don't read at my desk. I don't, like, listen to audiobooks or anything, because I want, like, when I sit down, I'm like, okay, here we go. And that's part of the reason I started waking up at 4, was because when I would get up at 4, I don't want to go get chips. Nobody's texting me. You block out all those distractions anyway, so my body really doesn't know what to do other than sit down at the desk and start working. And
that's the other aspect of it, and again, as we just organically talk a little bit, as set time also. And now, not that you can't work having a workspace first and foremost allows you, but again, we are kind of creatures of habit, of routine. And so, again, Stephen King, my favorite author. Maybe someday he'll, see this. Anyway, just give it,
balls in your court, Stephen.
But a lot of writers talk about having, and especially like morning. It doesn't mean every writer, that they also have a designated time, and they get work done, and then they go do other things. In my case, time is usually the more serious stuff is after everybody goes to sleep.
Yep.
I do have a desk, but I do certain work there. Like my lyric podcast is where I go to get that done. But most of the cases, in my case, my workspace is actually a certain chair in the living room. It is with headphones on, though. Just to get kind of zone in. One of the other questions, and mine's pretty simple, but it's like, what are the things that you need to make sure is at your workspace before you get started? Me, I always have a cup of coffee, but it's kind of funny. It doesn't even matter what time of night. But if I really get into my work, I end up not drinking my coffee. And like I'll go, like I'll like 3 verses into a poem or a blog or something, and I'll grab it and it'll be like cold. I'll be like, oh, what was that? Because I forgot that it was there. Like I got into the work, but I have to brew it. Like it's part of the routine.
Because if you don't have it, you're like, where's my coffee?
Yeah, like where's the coffee? Where's the so, and also I have a certain playlist. Music wise, there's certain music I don't listen to while I'm writing because it's too distracting. So I have this playlist that I've created for that. So for me, my workspace is a certain spot mostly, except for a few other work. I have to have a cup of coffee and I have my playlist, and that's about all I need. And my work is obviously very like mental. I don't have a lot of tools and stuff. So for your workspace, what do you need to have there? Because that was actually also part of the videos. Like, get the stuff you need first. Don't distract yourself by getting up to go like, oh, I don't have this. I don't have that. Like, that's just a way to not work.
So for mine, I have to have my little like journal thing usually open to either notes about the project I'm on or the critical things for the day. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier to look at those and be like, I still have 5 left. I gotta at least finish this, and then cross that off, and then maybe go up and get those chips or another bubbler. I typically have some sort of caffeine, no matter like. I cut myself off around 5 usually, because otherwise I don't sleep very well. But like even in the afternoons when I sit down at the desk and just edit away, I'll usually grab a bubbler, even though I've had like 8 already. So caffeine, my little journal. Like you just touched on, I will make sure I have all of my drives right there in case for some reason I didn't think I needed this one, but I do. I don't have to get up, go look for it, and then by the time that's over, it's like you lost it. And then so my office is in a spare bedroom, and it's in the corner of the building, so it has 2 windows, so it lets in a lot of natural light. I can see the sunrise, whatever. That's, for whatever reason, I love just having as much natural light coming as possible, so having those 2 windows really helps. I have the desk pushed up in between them, so that helps a lot of the time. And then I have specific playlists for kind of the type of work I'm doing. When I'm doing video stuff or kind of photo editing, it'll usually be instrumental stuff, stuff that doesn't have words, so I can just kind of, it's more background, subtle stuff. And then for whatever reason, when I'm doing graphic design, I turn on like my throwbacks playlist and I'll just like jam out because like it comes so easy to me. I'm supposed to be awake by now. It comes so just easy to me, the ideas flow, that I'm just like 4 a.m. just like jamming out and making graphics for people. So if I've made one of your guys' committed graphics or something, it's probably up at 4 a.m. in my corner office, just like typing, moving the mouse, and singing to like Black Eyed Peas or something. I don't know. Like, so.
But that's a part of the body, even the psychology, the mental part. If we prime yourself to do good work, you will do good work. You know, and if you've not really set again, because if you never had a really workspace yet, or you're starting out. It takes a little bit of time. You got to find your groove. You do have to find what works. If you do like listening to music, like I can't listen to like 80s hair bands and stuff because that it just distracts. It doesn't work for what I like to do. So you have more unique. I kind of have a mobile workspace. I always keep a notebook and a pen. And I always have my phone, and my creative work's pretty easy. But you do have to travel, and you already mentioned about it. How do you make sure that you have a good workspace? because you do have different venues that you go to in different situations.
Yeah.
State track, mostly outside.
Yep.
So, like, how do you get set up and prepared for, like, a mobile workspace?
It is hard. I've been doing the NSAA thing where, like, my workspace changes it's about to come up here. My workspace will change Wednesday through Saturday every week, just at the different venues. Usually it means not being in the media room.
Distractions.
Yeah, just people in there that don't really... Some people are more serious than others about their work. That goes with anything. And I just cannot focus when I disagree with everything somebody's saying. And they're like, not to bash anybody, but like there's just state softball is always the worst, because typically, I guess when it was in Hastings last year, I didn't even go in the media room at all at Omaha, but people are more there to socialize than they are to actually do the work. Like, yeah, what inning is it? That's 6. I'll just go down like half hour or something. They're not there to put their pride and stuff into work, and that's
in every job. Like, that's just every job. But if you put yourself in that situation,
I like, if I hear something egregious, I'm like, actually, that's wrong, and then boom, my like, it's not a workspace anymore. It's a social hour.
Yep.
So typically, I go somewhere that is not around other people. At Pinnacle Bank, there's a like media row up where I can see the court, but I still like the media room's down below or whatever, and then media row's just a little like table thing. Very often I'll have the AirPods in, even if I'm not listening to anything, so people just won't come up and talk to me. It's trying to build a little bubble where it's me and the work, and if I need to look up and be like, oh, I gotta shoot this, I can go down there. It's more, it helps that it's so time sensitive, because I really have to make sure that I can't just jack around for even 10 minutes, because then I fall behind on my routine.
And then the stress level gets
on top of what it
already is. Yeah.
So a lot of it is just the prep time of, okay, here's how my routine's going to go. And then if I already have the idea of what that's going to look like, I can put that in a lot quicker. So when state basketball's coming up, I will have my camera bag here, my sweatshirt here, so it blocks off, no one can sit by me, my computer, my OneDrive, and my mouse, and then so it just kind of tunnel visions me, similar to like, working on a desk in a cubicle, whatever. With it, like, some events are more conducive to that than others. State track is usually, I'll sit down in the infield, grab my computer, and just try my best. That like the outdoor spring events are the hardest, because one, the media rooms at state track is just a tent, and it's just packed with people. There, obviously, state track, there's tons of schools there, individuals and teams. So usually, if I need to, I'll just sit down, put my computer out. Again, most of the time, I just put AirPods in, just no one's gonna bother me.
Yep.
Yeah. But then, like, so I stay at a friend's in Lincoln. For most of the Lincoln stuff, save on hotel money. And that is hard, because even if I have AirPods in, they'll still be like, hey, do you want to go to the store, or this, that, the other. And so that is typically the hardest, and that's typically when I need to get the most work done, because it's 11 p.m. or something, and I want to go home. Yeah. And so I'll just be kind of working, be like, yeah. So it's hard with it changing so much. I think as much as you can to keep it as similar as you can. Obviously, if you have to travel a lot, it does kind of throw a wrench in it. But just finding a space where you can, however you can, create a little kind of social bubble where no one's going to bother you helps a lot more. Because as soon as I take those AirPods out, it's like you're exposed to everybody else.
Yeah. So, and the social part is also hard not to do. And even in my case, I'm at home if I try to write like right after dinner because I've got a grade or something, the headphones work, but I still got dad stuff to do, and the workspace is not just the physical part; it is zoning in, and we've talked about getting into flow a little, another video but that's basically the gist. How can I get myself into my work so one, I get whatever the project is done well and in a good amount of time that doesn't cause more stress, like especially in your case of your job's time sensitive. If you do get lost in conversation, you just compounded your stress like times 2 because you're behind, and you are like, and I see that in lots of different situations. Obviously, sometimes like with students, and like they're in class and we do have work time, and then all of a sudden they veer off, and then it's like, oh, okay, and you just see it. You just see not panic. That's wrong. Like and like, well, you have to be disciplined enough to put the job or the project first,
and it comes online and just externally.
Yeah.
Because if I see someone tagged me in a tweet, I'm like, well, that's not my usual Twitter notification. So I go check it, and it's like, boom, you just killed your tunnel vision workspace. So a lot of times when I'm at those events, I'll usually, I'll have my phone on me because there's usually stuff I have to respond to, but I'll have it just here, and I'll only grab it when I go down to shoot. So then I'll check the stuff instead of like when I'm editing, and I'll see the stuff pop up on my computer, so I'll know if I need to respond to it. But yeah, it's a lot of what I learned is a lot of life just comes back to discipline, and the hardest part is you're the only one that can really, really put yourself in the position to succeed. And
in the long run, the little deep, you have to decide what's more important in the long run, because it is always nice to talk to people, like in your case traveling, or in my case just go do something with the girls. And again, I don't have projects that are totally so time sensitive, but I also don't like staying up.
When you have that discipline for yourself, I'm not just going to lag around with this book or this poem that I want to get it out by here, so I got to get out by this date.
So you decide. At the end of the day, if your project, your job, your whatever that you're trying to do, your goals, are they important enough for you to do some hard work and sometimes hard decisions? Because it is true, we are so just zoning in. I'm sorry, I have to get this done. And so your workspace is both physical and mental aspect to it.
Because no one's gonna, people know that I stay up late to get these videos, the hype videos done. People know that I have a ton on my plate
but they'll still talk to you.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's my responsibility, not theirs.
Yep.
If they want to say something to me, it's like, oh, they can spare 40 seconds. I'm like, I really can't.
Yeah.
When I go up to eat, go down to the media room to get lunch, I don't stay down there because I know I'll be down there for 20 minutes. I come back up, scarf it down because it's usually the only food I eat all day, throw it away, boom, right back on it. And so that was probably one of the things that I'm most proud of since high school, and on top of that, moving out, was very early did I say, I want to wake up early, get the work done, and hold myself to that, because it still was kind of a little bit of a culture shock of you wake up every morning, I'm like, what do you want to do today? It's all on me. And so having a defined place where, okay, if I go in this room or to this desk, this is what I'm going to do, just is one less step that you have to take of, where do I want to work today?
So less energy spent trying to decide or get into the zone.
Because
again, if you've never made, believe us, after about 3 times that this becomes, it'll be like your body, your mind, your spirit, just, okay, this is what I do here. Because we're creatures of habit.
Yep. Until you just stop thinking about it.
Yeah. Until
I wake up, I shower, eat breakfast, and I just go in the office and work. So that's just a huge thing to, one, help with your maybe lack of discipline or something like that, but also just to help you kind of define your space. This is where I'm going to get the work done. And it can change every once in a while. Part of the reason I think we're creatures of habit and we love routine is because it feels so good to break out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's the whole balance thing where the less routine you have, the less like spontaneity, I don't know what word that is. Spontaneal, but the less that like kind of helps you, the less it is, the less fulfilling it is to break out of that routine and just kind of be all over the place.
Right. And I honestly think you also get, but once you've established the routine and the workspace and stuff, your work will improve also. Because again, we cannot multitask very well. We can
and you can lose a thought like that.
Yeah. And so then, yes, doing something different one time just ignites, and then you get back into your zone, into your work, and create stronger things. I think when you just randomly do things, your work is kind of randomly, really good here. This isn't, you want to produce your work at a high level as much as you can all the time, Yep. As I'm reading a book comparing Dickens and Prince, and there's just this one line that it's like, even Prince's average songs were better than most people, it's like, and he produced a lot of music, in the vault that he had, and his average stuff is really pretty good. Yep. But he worked, he had a routine, he had his own, he wanted his own studio. That's why I built Paisley Park. It's like, I'm going to build my own.
We've been there, by the way.
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to build my own workspace, so.
Yeah, and that makes it easier for him, because that was that in his backyard, or was it?
No, he bought.
Okay,
yeah,
so.
That's his home.
But
he ended up living there.
Okay. Yeah. It's so much easier to say, this is where I'm going to get the work done. And you won't really feel it until you develop the habit. And then if you break it, you're like, wow, it's super, work comes easy to me in here, where here I kind of have to think about it. I have to make a more conducive workspace. So him having that Paisley Park is like, okay, here's where I'm on. Here's where I'm the best stuff. So, that was the Creative Moment Season 5, Episode 7. We're on Spotify, YouTube, all the places. You can watch our video on Spotify, actually, if you guys... I obviously, Apple and Spotify, mostly I listen to podcasts commuting, so not always conducive to watch video. But if you don't want to go to YouTube, you just have us on Spotify, you can actually watch the video, which is kind of cool. But we're everywhere you can find podcasts. We both have our own personal social medias, Twitter, Instagram, all the things. Facebook.
The app formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, it's Twitter, okay? If I would have never gotten a new phone, I never would have updated it. But anyway, we're on that. We post a lot of our work there. He has a blog as well. So follow us on all those if you want to see more of our content. Shout out to all the Falls City Sacred Heart kids that said they watched our podcast. There was like 10 of them. They were like, when's the next episode of Creative Moment? Whatever. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for watching and listening. You guys have already followed me on Instagram, so follow him, JDog90. But that'll do it for us. We will see you guys in a couple weeks.